It's another edition of the Wrap-Up Show with John Schaefer and Jim Russell. We're presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you are new to our channel and you're a Padres fan, you have to subscribe because we have year-round exclusive Padres content. Jim's pointing to the button down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when we have new videos. Smash the like button as well if you're a Padres fan. And follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We have lockout updates for you in a moment, but first we need to tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. I just switched over my earthquake insurance, also my homeowners, to Mark. He is a San Diegan. If you've got auto, home, renters, or life insurance needs, you got to turn to a San Diegan. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He can save you over $440 this year with your insurance. If you own an electric vehicle, he can save you even more money. He's got over a decade of experience in insurance. He's a huge Padres fan. You can just call him to talk Padres or insurance. And Mark's got great customer service and communication. So if you're looking to save money on your insurance in 2022, we have a link down below for Mark Nimitz.
Yeah, and all his information is above my head right here. Phone number and email address, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. That's mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
Nothing says baseball season like a federal mediator at the White House level. The good news is this. We do have an update from the MLBPA. So the latest this week is that the owners asked for this process to go to a mediator. So they didn't want the sides to meet anymore. They wanted to go to a mediator at the federal level. And the players say, no, we want to get back to the negotiating table. The Players Association sending out a tweet on Friday rejecting the idea of a mediator. So here we are in early February, Jim. Neither side really budging. There had been some concessions earlier in the process, I thought, from the Players Association, but the sides remain far off. We're still, 6 or 7 weeks away from opening day, maybe a little more than that. But we're kind of in a spot where who blinks first? And we still have just a couple of weeks before spring training. At this point, it appears unlikely that spring training is going to start on time, right?
I would probably put it at, let's see here, 100% that spring training will not start on time. Here's the letter that the MLBPA sent out today saying that, look, we need both sides to negotiate properly. Pretty much that they feel like Major League Baseball is not negotiating in good faith and that they've only met a couple times. Like, legitimately, they said only they've met 2 times after, committing to the players' counter proposals, which, let's see here. It's been over 2.5 months, maybe 2 months, but still 2 months, and you've met legitimately a couple times. It's unacceptable, man. And that's just frustrating. I know it's to make a deal done, to get a deal done, it takes both sides. In any deal, in any walk of life, to get a deal done, it takes 2 sides. But in this case, if the owners are not going to even talk to the players, if they're not even going to offer counter proposals, if they're not going to, really sit down and try to work their way to a middle, then this could last for a while until the start of the season. It's very frustrating. It pisses me off. It makes me hate the owners, not all owners, but it makes me hate the owners, most of them, and Rob Manfred a lot. I think Rob Manfred's a joke of a commissioner in any sport. I would probably put him last. And yeah, it's not all on him, but he is the poster child of the Major League Baseball owners. And we know Bud Selig's legacy. He is the poster child of the steroid era. He's the poster child of the lockout in '94. He is the poster child of scandals that what he was a part of. He's also the poster child of the debacle of the All-Star game. So Rob Manfred, while he has done, I asked this question to the other day on the radio show. Name me one positive thing that Rob Manfred has done as commissioner of baseball. One. I'll wait.
We'll get right back to the video, but we want to tell you about our newest sponsor here on the Wrap-Up Show, Aura. Aura is a natural supplement and health-based nutrition company. Everything is plant-based. They've got the healthiest supplements on the market, including a probiotic that I've been taking that is vegan and entirely plant-based. I've been taking probiotics for a decade. This is the best one I've ever taken. Will, their co-founder, is a San Diegan. He's a huge Padres fan. He's got a great offer for our viewers, 30% off your first order at aura.organic. That's ORA.organic. There's a link down below. Use promo code WRAPUP. These supplements are all plant-based, Jim.
Yeah, and there's protein powders, like John said, probiotics. And what I'm using the most right now is this raspberry lemonade flavor pre-workout. It's the cleanest on the market. The best thing about this is when you take it, no jittery side effects. You won't get a crash once your workout ends, and you still get that energy boost that a pre-workout gives you. It's the cleanest on the market. It's what I use all the time for when I work out now. It's what you should use when you work out now as well. When you go to aura.organic, www.aura.organic, use promo code WRAPUP, 30% off your first order. Go out, get this raspberry lemonade flavored pre-workout, 30% off your first order, promo code WRAPUP. You will not regret it. You'll thank us later. Now back to the video.
Yeah, I don't have it. I'm with you. I mean, Rob Manfred's going to be held accountable for this. There's no question about this. If the season doesn't start on time, he's going to bear the brunt of the blame if that's the case. With all that being said, there's some level of posturing here. It does no one any good on either side to give a lot right now, knowing that if you give now, you'll be asked to give even more because the regular season doesn't start until March 31st. So there's still a period of time where these two sides don't need to settle their differences. With all that being said, the players earlier in this process already did, I think, appease the owners to some extent, because the owner said, we're not negotiating 6 years until free agency. And the player said, okay, we understand. We won't ask for that period of time to be shortened. So what are they fighting about? Minimum salary? Again, this is dollars and cents. The owners could very easily appease the players' wishes and raise the minimum salary. What else are we fighting about? Arbitration dollars for players that are just, 2 years removed or 3 years removed. So well in front of free agency, the players are saying, hey, listen, after 2 years, we want more money in the pie. We don't want to be free agents. We just want more money. We want to be able to get to arbitration sooner or get a larger piece of the pie after 2 years in the big leagues. And the owners and players are way apart here, about $100 million apart. We've talked about the universal DH. That's a talking point. So are expanded playoffs. But it doesn't seem that, you said it yesterday on the radio. I agree with you. I think obviously this comes down to dollars and cents. And truthfully, it doesn't seem as if the owners couldn't just acquiesce and get this done by raising the minimum salary, offering more to players after their second full season in the major leagues. And I think you'd be pretty close to a deal. But they said earlier this week, we'll have a counter proposal for you players. And then they went to the federal government. So are the owners really doing this the same way that the players are doing it right now? And you have to ask yourself, if they're not, are the owners playing games, and are they prepared to miss games? Are they putting themselves in a position where they said, you know what, we're gonna dig in, and if we miss games, we miss games. We think that puts more pressure on the players than it does on ownership and these 30 clubs.
Right. Baseball is making a lot of money. This is not a broke sport. This is a sport, while if you look at the major sports, isn't even close to football. And really, the popularity of basketball is far greater than the popularity of baseball. Not even a question about it. Maybe viewership's the same, but popularity-wise, basketball is light years ahead. Baseball is so far back right now. It's kind of, I don't know, I can say it's a problem, but it's an issue. But also, to my point is that while I say all those things, they're still making a boatload of money as a league. Teams are still profiting. Teams, even though they're tanking, like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Miami Marlins, those teams are still profiting and making money. Okay. No team is losing money. Well, maybe the A's. Maybe the A's, all right? But besides the A's, every team in baseball is making a boatload of money. And the point is, if that's the case, what is the big deal about raising the minimum salary a little bit more? Arbitration, like, Are these like numbers that are so gaudy that the owners couldn't, I don't know, start walking towards a middle point? Because right now it seems like they're just like, nope, we're not even going to attempt to get to a middle point with you guys. We're just going to sit here and wait because we are not getting to where you think you should be. And that's a joke. It's a joke because you're billionaires and you're making so much freaking money. And it's frustrating, man.
Well, and even the luxury tax number that they're fighting, because the players want the luxury tax number to go up, that doesn't even impact any of the 30 clubs. They don't have to spend the money. You don't have to be within a certain percentage of that number. But the owners are saying, well, if you raise that number, it's benefiting the rich, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and not the poor, the A's, the Brewers, the Marlins, and the Pirates. Well, the A's, the Brewers, the Marlins, and the Pirates can spend. The Padres are doing it in the quote unquote, whatever, 27th largest market in baseball or 26th largest market in baseball. Like Peter Seidler has caused more harm for small market owners than anyone else, more than Rob Manfred, more than the players. And I credit Peter Seidler for that. He's pressured the owner of the A's to spend. And by the way, the A's aren't losing money. I just saw a report on Twitter yesterday. No. Big league clubs are getting $100 million in television revenue. The A's aren't even spending $100 million in salary. So the A's aren't losing a dime. And like you said yesterday on John and Jim, each club's valuation has averaged going up $140 million per year over the last decade. So these clubs are worth $1 billion each. So if they lose $4 million in a year, well, you're gaining at $100 million and $140 million in valuation. Now, how does this lockout impact the Padres? We've talked about it a little bit. I think it's really detrimental from the Padres' perspective because you have guys that could use the Major League spring, Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams. They might get time in spring in minor league camp, obviously, but you got other guys coming back from injury. Darvish, Snell, Paddock, others. So it impacts all clubs, but it really impacts the Padres who are trying to get right and get guys back from injury like Mike Clevenger heading into 2022.
Well, not only does it impact guys that are coming back from injury, it impacts the way that AJ Preller can build the rest of this roster.
True.
And that to me is just as important as guys coming back from injury. You know, like the guys that are coming back from injury, they're not injured still. They just got to get back into form. You need to still build out a roster here because you don't have a left fielder. The closer situation's up in the air. You probably need another starter or two. What the hell are you going to do with Eric Hosmer? What are you going to do with Will Myers? What are you going to do if there's a DH? What are you going to do with, rounding out this roster? So that to me is also like a big thing here. And it's not just the Padres who are in this situation. Like every team is in this situation, So it's not just a Padres problem. It's an everybody problem. I do like the fact that I feel the Dodgers and Giants have more work to do in the division than the Padres, would you say? Like because of
they got big changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is a little bit of like, if you want to look at this glass half full type of thing where the Padres are more set than the other two teams, I would say, because the Dodgers, they lost a bunch of their rotation. They lost Scherzer and Kershaw. Mm-hmm. Those are big pieces. Dustin May's coming back off of Tommy John. So that's a big thing as well. Your third starter there is like David Price. Same thing with the Giants. They lost Kevin Gausman. They lost Buster Posey. They lost Chris Bryant. Those are big ass pieces.
Huge losses. Mm-hmm.
Massive losses. So as it stands right now, you're equipped. You're pretty well equipped in your division. But that once the second this lockout ends, those two other teams I just talked about, they're going full 1000% speed to finish building their roster. And you need to be ready too. And you need to overcome 28 games. And you're right. I mean, those are significant losses, but are they 30 games of difference? I mean,
the Dodgers will put themselves in a position to get back to the postseason. I mean, there's no question about that. We'll see about the Giants. And the Padres roster needs to be rounded out as well. So, it's an interesting time. Listen, this is part of the process, Jim. I think we both agree until it gets done, this is part of the process. Do I think baseball will be played again? Yeah, I do. Do I know that the season's going to start on time? I don't. I mean, in 1995, it didn't. And the strike started in 1994 season. They missed 18 games. They played 144 in 1995. So there's no promise it gets done by March 31st, but it'll get done. I don't know how it gets done, but it will get done. Could games be missed? Of course they could. This is the worst marriage of any marriage in sports. This is the worst marriage of any marriage in general. And these two sides do not see eye to eye. It will not get done until the 11th hour, if not beyond that. But it will get done at some point.
Like, think about this. Like you mentioned, it's the worst marriage in sports. They've been in the same marriage for over 25 years. It's not changed or gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Back in 94, 95, it was very bad. We're now in 2022. It's very bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just speaks to baseball always finding ways to shoot themselves in the foot and always finding ways to not progress. Like, they love to hold themselves back. They love to hold themselves back without even knowing it. And again, they're doing the same thing. They're holding themselves back. They're not evolving. They're not taking a step in a direction that is good for the fans and good for the sport. They just want to stick in their own ways. And what did that get you? Get you a lockout. It gets you, heated press releases from the MLB PA and the owners, and back and forth. And now you have to put a mediator in. Like, this is 1994 part 2.
It really is. Whose side are you on? I mean, I think everyone's on the side of get this deal done. Just figure it out. March 31st is coming. I mean, are you on the player's side or the owner's side or somewhere in between? Comment down below. Yeah, I'm leaning towards the players. There's no question about that. You can comment down below. Again, if you're new to the wrap-up show here on YouTube, subscribe. If you're looking for year-round exclusive Padres content, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Make sure to smash the like button on these videos as well. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. And support our sponsors, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have insurance needs, if you want to save $440 at ORA.organic, you'll get 30% off your first order with promo code WRAPUP. If you're purchasing Padres tickets in 2022, there will be a season. We have a link down below for StubHub. They've got the Fan Protect guarantee as well. Please purchase those Padres tickets through us. Until next time, this has been the Wrap-Up Show presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.